All right, this is getting ready for Unit 7. We're going over some of the stuff, hopefully, that you guys remember. Was this last year or grade 8?
Last year.
Last year? Okay. So we're dealing with opposite angles here. When we have opposite angles, we have two lines that are intersecting. Of course, they need to be straight lines here. We know that the opposite angles are equal. So A is going to be equal to C, and B is going to be equal to D in this case. Okay. Supplementary angles, we know that a straight line makes up an angle of 180 degrees. And so therefore we know that the two angles with this on a straight line have to add up to equal 180. Okay, so angle A here plus angle B has to equal 180. Two angles whose sum is 180 is called supplementary angles. Okay, complementary angles, in contrast, make up two angles within a bigger angle. So here we know this is 90-degree angle. We know that because of this square box. And we know A plus B has to equal 90 degrees. Okay, any questions so far? All right, pretty simple stuff. Hopefully you guys will like this unit. I do think it is easier than Chapter 6, but you need to keep up. You need to not miss a day. You need to do all your homework, and I think you'll find it an easier time than Chapter even 5 and 6. So parallel line theorem, when a transversal crosses two parallel lines. So what a transversal is just another fancy word for a line that crosses two parallels. It transverses or crosses two parallels. We get a bunch of angles. Here we can see there's 8 different angles that are formed. But then we have this relationship between these angles, okay? And we have sort of different patterns that form, okay? You guys have learned this as well, right? Like F pattern, C pattern, okay? Good. So we're just going to review those quickly. So the corresponding angles form an F pattern. So the F pattern is this, okay, where the corresponding angles are equal. So angle D is equal to angle H. Angle D, this angle is equal to angle H. So in our F pattern, we got this angle and this angle. So kind of underneath the F, those two angles are equal, okay? We also have angle C is equal to angle G. So we have like an upside down F or a backwards F over here. So C is equal to G. Okay, we have this F happening. So it's like this, where this angle is equal to this angle. Okay. And then we have F is equal to angle B. So this angle is equal to this angle. It's like an upside down F. Right? Alternate angles we'll look at form a Z pattern with transversal and parallel lines. So alternate angles are equal. So C and F and D and E. So C and F. So this is kind of like the Z pattern here, where you have two parallel lines and you have a line like this. These angles are equal. Okay? So here is your Z. And those sort of inside angles are equal, and then the opposing outside angles would be equal on the outside. All right, that's your Z pattern. And then we have co-interior angles on the same side of the transversal form a C pattern. Okay, so this is when you have these two angles. Now they're not the same, but they add up to 180. So X plus Y equal 180 degrees. Okay. And likewise on the other side, you could have A and B. Angle A plus angle B is equal to 180 degrees. Okay? So using all of these sort of tricks and patterns, we're going to be able to solve some problems. All right? Let's look at a few more tricks or a few more patterns here. We have interior and exterior angles of a triangle. So the sum of the interior angles in a triangle is 180. So we know that A, B, and C here add up to 180. These three angles. That's a big one, right? That's important. We know all angles inside a triangle have to add up to 180. We also know that each exterior angle equals the sum of the interior angles opposite it. Okay, what does this mean? So this means F, this angle F that's being formed on this line here, is going to be equal to C plus B, these two angles. Okay? E is going to be equal to A plus B, and D, the outside angle D, is going to be equal to A plus C. Any questions there? All right. Each exterior angle is a supplementary angle with its adjacent interior angle. Okay, this makes also sense. Right here we have, this angle is 180, so D and B have to add up to 180. Okay, C and E have to add up to 180. And F and A add up to 180. All right? Any questions there? Okay, great. Moving right along. All right, so here we got some examples here. Use the angle properties to determine each unknown triangle. So if you can put your hand up here and tell me what to do for each one of these, we'll see how quickly we can get through. Adrian.
Say do 180 minus 74.
Equals 106, and this is all x, right? X equals that, right? X is equal to this angle minus this angle. Okay, good. This one should be a little quicker. We should be able to get them all right away. Rudy? You could to get W. What's an easier way? Actually, sorry, you're right. I think W is the one way we have to get W like that. So what is that? We're going to say angle W is equal to 180 minus 95 and minus 41. That's what? 44 degrees. Okay, that should be enough. Now we can get the other ones. What's angle X? Yeah, you're right. Yep. And then Y is 95. Yep. And? Okay. Who does not understand how Rudy got these so quickly? Please tell me now. Okay, Chenier. We're just using opposing angle theorem here. Okay, Chenier? Opposite 95 is 95. That's how we knew that. Opposite 41 is Z. Z is 41. Okay? See this? That's 41. Opposite 41. Opposite 95. Opposite X is W. Do you understand how he got W? He took 180 and minus these two. Do you know why? Because a straight line is 180, right? So now W is all that's left to compose this full straight line from here to here. So he subtracted 41 and 95 from 180. That's how you got 44. Okay? All right. Chenier, do this one. What's X equal to? Three angles inside a triangle have to equal what? Right. So we have to do what with these two angles? To get X. Yeah, you're right. You got to add them and see how much they take away from 180. So one way we can do that is just subtract both of them from 180. Is what? Anybody? Anybody? Douglas? 57? Thanks. All right, Douglas, you're going to do this one. How do we do this? We only got one unknown, or sorry, two unknowns here now. What's the problem with that?
Minus 180 by 50.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we go 180 minus 50. Okay, that's what? 130. Now we know these two angles, they're the same, so we know two angles of X is equal to 130. So I can say X is equal to 65. Thank you. Okay? Easy peasy. Right? So far, so good. Of course, it's going to get harder. But we should be enjoying this at least so far. Okay, how can I get Y? Alan. How can I get Y? Here, I'm going to try to help you out here, okay? This angle here is what? What? Eight? Yeah, 180, yeah. Okay, so what's y equal to? Yep. Which is 139? No, 141, right? 141. Okay, you got y. How about x? Can we get x, Douglas?
You can add the
Yeah, we can do the two interior angles, the two opposite angles from x, because x is an exterior angle, the two opposing interior angles. So angle x is just going to be equal to 39 plus 82 is
121.
121. Okay,
Sir,
and with the last one,
I have a question.
Yep.
Every triangle, is there like some triangles that go all equal?
some triangle that what?
Do you see how like all like the sides have like a triangle, like the one that you showed me, you put like 180? Is there like any triangles that don't?
No, every triangle adds up to 180. Okay? That's like by definition what makes it a triangle. Okay? Last one here, we need to get Z. Angle Z is going to be equal to. Sorry? Yeah. How? How'd you get 98?
Since the line equals 180, I thought
Yes. Good. All right. Next one. Yeah. Milkius. Let's see. How can you get X? I'm picking X for a reason here. It's the easiest one. Yeah, X is 70Y. I'm gonna put in here the reason. F pattern, right? Right? We know from F pattern. Here's my upside down F. 70 is equal to X. Okay, well, if X is 70, what is W? Angle W is going to be equal to, yeah, 110. So it's 180 minus 70 is equal to 110. And this is C pattern. Right, here's my C. Okay, we also know Z is going to be equal to 180 minus my X is 110 as well. Okay, and that's just because of our rule here. 180 minus one angle is the other angle. And then finally, Y is going to be the same as Z because it's an opposing angle. All right, any questions? Okay, G. All right, look, getting a little trickier now. If these two sides are the same, and this angle is X, what's this angle, Andrew?
Triangle, that's also at
Yes.
75.
How'd you know that?
Oh,
How'd you know that's X?
because actually it's set.
Okay, you don't even need to do anything with any other angles. If two sides are the same, their opposing angles are the same. That's a rule. Okay? Yeah.
Say it again.
If these two sides on an isosceles triangle are the same,
Yeah.
these two angles are the same. That's a rule. So that's X and the X. Yep. Adrian?
Actually, it's 75.
Sorry?
Actually, it's 75.
X is going to be equal to 75? Yes. And this is here Z pattern, right? Z pattern. Okay, you guys see the Z here? Here's the Z right here, coming across down here, and then across. Okay? That's Z. Now remember, for all of these patterns to take place, you have to have parallel lines. If this line is going differently than this line, none of this stuff is going to work. Okay, notice on all of these, right, where we're doing all these tricks and stuff, we have parallel lines there, parallel lines there, parallel lines here. Okay, when we were establishing all of our patterns, they all were to do with these two parallel lines. Okay, so that's very important to understand. Okay, we know X is 75, and how can we find Z? Yeah, Adrian?
180 minus
Which is what? 30. Okay, so we can see that's 180, this big long angle. We minus 75 and minus the other 75 because this is going to be x as well, right? Instead. And finally, angle y is just going to be 180 minus x, which is 75, equals 105. Any questions? So far, so good. H. Here we have angle, let's start with B. What is the value of B, angle B? It's going to be 180 minus 113, right? Is? Okay, good, 67 degrees. So we have B. Now, can we find A? What is angle A? Yeah, someone other than Adrian. Let's see if we got anyone else. Ethan, what is angle A? Sorry? Yeah, what's angle A? $67? Well, how? Tell me how to get it.
I would get 180 minus 67 minus 9.
Yeah. Very good. So that is what?
23.
What is it? I can't hear you. 23? Okay, we know this symbol here, this square, it means 90 degrees. We know 90 and 60 are the two angles inside the triangle. We know three angles make up 180. So we know A has to be equal to 180 minus those two angles. Okay? Jaden, can you try to figure out, let's see which one I would go with. C. Say it again. 180 minus 52? No, not 180, because 52 is with it, but it's only in this angle. Yeah, 90 minus 52. Right? Desperate? $90 minus 52 is, what's that, 38? 38, we got C. Who can tell me what angle E is? Actually, what is angle D from the rule I was talking to Andrew about? Isosceles triangle, this big triangle. If this is angle 67, angle D is going to be equal to two of the same sides? 67, yeah. Okay, we're last one now. We got angle D, we got angle E is left. We can see it's going to be pretty much the same as angle A here, right? But we could do this whole triangle here, which is 180, right? Minus 90, minus D, which is 67. It's going to give you the same as A, 23. Okay? Any questions? Nice. Moving right along. Review of right triangles and the Pythagorean theorem. So right triangle is a triangle that has a 90-degree angle and two acute angles. The hypotenuse is the side of that is opposite the 90-degree angle. It's always the longest of the right angle triangle. In triangle ABC, side AB is the hypotenuse, so AB, because it is opposite the right angle. Good. The Pythagorean theorem states h squared is equal to the sum of the other two sides squared. This is how I like it written, right? The way you guys remember it from earlier would probably be a squared plus b squared equals c squared I much prefer this writing h squared equals s1 squared plus s2 squared, because this tells you a little bit about the sides. The hypotenuse is represented by h, and then s1 and s2 are the other two sides that you choose. So determine the missing side lengths to 1 decimal place. So we're looking for this side length. We're going to use hypotenuse, the Pythagorean theorem. So we'll write it down first. H squared is equal to s1 squared plus s2 squared. Hypotenuse is, in this case, x squared, right? Because that's the hypotenuse, opposite. S1 is what, 9 or 7.5, Jafet?
9.
Does it matter? Does it matter? Doesn't matter. Whatever side you choose. Let's choose 9, sure, plus 7.5 squared. X squared is equal to 7.5 squared. So I got 137.25, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we need to take the square root of that. It would give us plus or minus 11.7? Okay. We're not going to deal with the minus in trigonometry. You can't have a negative side, so we were not going to worry about that plus or minus. We're going to just deal with the positive values, right, for this unit. So x is 11.7. And that is to 1 decimal place. Next one here, we have A. It is not the hypotenuse side. We'll start with this again. Subbing in for hypotenuse, we get 14 squared. S1, let's call it 11 squared. Plus A squared is S2. Now we have 14 squared minus 11 squared is equal to A squared. So we got 75 is equal to A squared, and A is equal to 8.666 to 1 decimal is 8.7. Any questions with Pythagorean theorem? Yes. When I say that again, yeah, because the 11's moving over here. You see? Right? Alright, slope of a line or line segment. This is going all back to grade 9. This is a big grade 9 lesson here. The slope of the line is the ratio of the rise over the run. Example, determine the slope of the following. So the rise here, the slope would be, the rise is 16 divided by the run, which is 30, which is 0.533. That is our slope for this particular triangle. Any question on slope? All right. Keep going, almost done. Last one here. Equivalent ratios. So what is an equivalent ratio? They're called proportions. Basically, an equivalent ratio is when you take one side divided by the other side and do that with another two sides, and you get the same ratio. Okay, so for example, 1 over 2 is equal to 5 over 10, or 1 proportion to 2 is equal to 5 to 10 is an example of an equivalent ratio or proportion. To solve a proportion, cross multiply and solve for the variable. So here we have two proportions here. We want to solve for x. We're going to cross multiply. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what we're actually doing when we cross multiply. Okay, so when we cross multiply this, we're going to get 20x equals 8 times 15, 120. Okay, that's what we're doing when we cross multiply. A lot of people love to cross multiply and they have no idea why or when or what they're doing. They're just cross multiply. It's fun to do. What are we actually doing here when we cross multiply? I'm going to write it out over here. X over 8 equals 15 over 20. What we're actually doing is we're multiplying both sides first by 8, so these cross out. This gets multiplied by 8. And then, so we get here x, because the 8's crossed out, equals 15 times 8. So we have 120 over 20, and then we're multiplying both sides by 20. That's what we're doing. So we get 20x is equal to, these cross out, 120. So all those steps I saved by cross multiplying. That's what you're actually doing. You're multiplying both sides by one denominator, you're multiplying both sides by the other denominator. Because that denominator is on one side, it crosses out in each case. Here and then here. So essentially the result is this cross multiply. You get the same answer here. Okay? We're not done. We have one step left. We need to divide both sides by 20. And you get x is equal to, I think, 6. Right? 6. Any questions on cross multiplying? When do we do it? We do it when we have one unknown variable. We're trying to find it without fractions. That's why we're doing it. We're getting rid of these fractions. So here we'll cross multiply again. So we have 9 times 15 is equal to 27 times a plus 4. That's what we have. Now we know how to deal with this with the distributive property. So we will. We get 135 is equal to 27a plus 108. This is 27 times a, 27 times 4. Okay, so we'll leave the 27a on the one side. We'll do 135 minus 108 on the left. We get 27 as well. A is equal to 27 because we divided both sides by 27. Okay? Sorry, a is equal to 1. My bad. Any questions? Yep.
How do you get 27 over 27?
So 135 minus 108 is 27. All right. Rudy, can you solve this one?
So you do 4 times 9.
Yep. What's m times m? Good. So what is m? Square root of 36? Yeah. Good. RC, give this one a shot. You're tapping out here on me early. It's the easy stuff. What do you do to cross multiply? How would I write this, RC? X times x plus 8. How would I write that out? I'm not trying to trick you here. X times x plus 8. You're just going to write it out. X, right? And then what do I write? You're right, but like I'm just trying to write it out. Well, okay, you can do the next part. X times x plus 8. And this is equal to what's 4 times 5? 20. Good. Okay, so now it's x squared, like you were saying, plus what? Yeah, louder, 8x. Good. Equals 20. Now what do I do? I can't hear you. What do I do to solve for x? You know, this is last unit. This is factoring. So 20 has to come over, right? So you're going to have this, RC. Okay. Now, RC, to factor this, we can go into 2 brackets because there's no a value here. It's just 1. So we can go straight to this. We need 2 numbers that multiply to negative 20 that add to 8. Okay. The first letter here is going to be what? What am I going to put here and here? X, good. Okay? So what are the two numbers that can multiply to give me negative 20, but they add up to give me positive 8? 4 and 5 will give me 9 or 1. That doesn't work. You're so quiet. I can't hear you with the fan. I'm going to show you a way to do this, okay? RC, listen to me, because you're still going to need this factoring on the exam. It's not going away. Here's how you do it. If you have no idea where to start, you don't know how to do the crisscross, you don't know how to factor, you didn't do the worksheets, here's what you do. You take the negative 20, right? This is what you need to get the product to. The sum you need to get to 8. The product, negative 20, to get a product you need to multiply two things. So we'll divide it by one number at a time. 1 and 20, can that make 8? No. So we'll divide it by 2. That gives me 10. 2 and 10, can that make 8? Can it? Alright, so 2 and 10, they look good so far. So what am I going to make 2 and what am I going to make 10? Positive or negative? You tell me. I got to add up to positive 8. You got it. That's it. Okay? Now, unfortunately, we're not done because it's still an equation. So you got to keep going, RC. Now what do? I want to solve for x. What do I do next? I'm going to get two formulas, right? Because if this is 0, this whole thing is true. If this is 0, this whole thing is true. So I need to check both scenarios where these are 0. So what am I going to write out here? Who knows what to do here? Show of hands. Jeds, you don't know what to do here? Teody, you don't know what to do? You guys, Milkius, you're not sure what to do? Come on, guys. Come on, guys. I failed you. We've gone over this so many times. Shinir, you don't know what to do? Tell me. Not just you, RC. Lots of people. Some reason, it's got to be the guys not doing their homework. That's my only thing. Shinir, you not sure? It's not hard. I'm not trying to trick you guys. Come on, Rudy.
Isn't it because x would equal the other side and the x would equal the
Yeah, but how do I get there? There's one more step, right?
so that equals 0.
Yeah, it equals 0. This equals 0. Jeds, you didn't know that? Are you asleep? What is going on? Guys,